Obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is probably a picture of a bridge that you maybe regularly see or regularly cross over. I looked, not because I couldn't think of a definition, but I looked up the definition of a bridge in the dictionary. Let me tell you what I found. It says this: something that makes a physical connection between two other things. It also says something that is intended to reconcile or form a connection between two things. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. Intended to reconcile or to bring connection between two things. A bridge represents so many different things. It represents stability, stature, strength. It represents a connection. And bridges allow people, but not only people, it allows resources to cross freely. Bridges allow us a real luxury to interact with another side, to interact, to get across freely, unhindered, unless of course you go to Wales where they charge you £4.10 to go across the bridge. But most bridges you can cross freely, and you're allowed to get resources as well as people across bridges. Bridges are a valuable asset. They really are a valuable asset. In the natural, they are an incredible invention for people to get from one side to another. In the spiritual, they lead to a supernatural adventure. Bridges allow us as a people, as a church, to cross over to another side where there needs to be reconciliation. Bridges allow us to maybe reach a people who have never set foot into a church before. Bridges allow us some form of supernatural adventure to go to a place where maybe we've never been before, or places that we have been but we need to regularly visit and get across to. Bridges are an incredible asset. And as a church, as Glasgow Whelan, we desire to build bridges. Bridges that can bring connection, bridges that can bring relationship between people and people groups, that can bring reconciliation, but can also bring stability for people. And one of the things that we have regularly found at Glasgow Whelan, with people coming in during the week with parents and toddlers that used to run regularly, and even sort of clinics and things, there seems to be a stability that comes for people when they're looking to belong, when they're looking to find something that's regular that they're able to belong to and create a connection with people. And so it can form a stability in people's lives. And one of the really exciting things that we found in 2010 was that in trying to build a bridge with our local community, we on a Thursday night started praying regularly for our local councillors. We started praying for our city leaders, and if you came along on a Thursday night, you would remember us doing that rather sort of religiously almost. It was something we just felt we really needed to do and to keep pushing on, and we did that every Thursday night. And towards the end of the year, in fact probably even sort of around the middle of the year, we just found that we were starting to build a relationship. We managed to get into conversations with Anne-Marie, our local councillor, and the relationship built with her. And you remember the day that she came and she spoke to us about Govan Hill and some of her challenges, and that was all because we believe on a Thursday night we committed to praying for her. We weren't praying her to get something in return, we were praying for her because she was appointed by God to be in that position. And we wanted to somehow build a connection and build a bridge with our local councillor. And God answered our prayers, incredibly so. Over the period of time that we prayed, God really answered our prayers from a Thursday night. And so every Thursday night we prayed for wisdom for her, we prayed for favour for her, the things that she would put her hands to, she would find favour, prayed for relationship. And today we have built a relationship now with our local councillor, but also we have built relationships with our local services. You'll remember just before Christmas we told you the story, and then we told you the report after Christmas of local services who came to us asking us for our help with families in this community. That is an incredible privilege for us as a church, that people feel, local services feel that they can pick up the phone to us and say, you know what, we have a real family in need, can you help us? That is an incredible bridge that we are able to connect, allows us to connect with other people. And as a church, we desire to build bridges, to build long-lasting bridges, stable bridges. And I want to introduce to you Audrey, who's going to come up now and share a little bit about some of the things she's going to be getting involved in this year and some ways that you can get involved with us in building bridges. Audrey, give Audrey a round of applause.
To the tail end of last year, James, and I think that was, where is he? It was a bit sneaky. He gave me this pack from the Trussell Trust about food banks. Obviously realised, having given up work last year, that I'm not one of these people that likes to be sitting about all the time, unless it's at a spa or a sauna or something like that. He hands me this Trussell Trust and I kind of looked at it and I thought, that's okay, but it's a bit much to be getting involved in. But over the past couple of months, you know, you're with things eat away at your brain. And they keep coming back, and they keep coming back. You keep saying, no, far too much work for me to do. Well, this just kept happening. And the upshot of it was, on Wednesday there, James and I and Stephen actually went down to Cockermouth to see a food bank in action. The food banks are set up under the kind of auspices of the Trussell Trust, but each food bank's an individual charity. And you then serve your community by giving out food packs. You don't serve everybody, there's criteria that you need to meet. The food is collected on donations in the main. It's not the church funding it, although it is the church as a body, if you like, funding it, but not just our church. Hopefully we'll get involved with local churches and build it as a community resource more than anything else. Last year, a few statistics, because I do like my stats. Well, women are statistics. Well, you can see that, can't you? Like statistics. I really should be giving me a mic, it's not a good idea, James. But not as we know it, eh? I could start. Last year, food banks in Britain fed over 41,000 people. Now, that gives me two kind of thoughts. One is that's really good to feed 41,000 people. The horror for that is that 41,000 people needed fed. And in 21st century Britain, where we're meant to be an affluent society, we still have over 13 million people living in the poverty line or below. And I think that's quite sad. One of the things we found out before Christmas time was that there are people in Govan Hill who go through black bags of rubbish to find food to eat because they don't have any food for their families. That just totally horrifies me, absolutely horrifies me. And the thing before Christmas, when we gave to the families, we fed 5 families for nearly a week on just over £250. And most of us will have spent that easily in Christmas presents. And it's when you start to look at things like that, that God really certainly started to convict me. Mind you, it doesn't take much. So what we hope is that by September, we will have the food bank up and running. We think possibly it will be based in the shop, because that seems to look quite a reasonable place to put it. You need an area where people can come and pick up their food boxes. The food boxes aren't given out willy-nilly, they actually are made by referral. And with that in mind, we would think to link with things like social services, citizens' advice, Salt and Light, other volunteers within the area where they would refer people to us. The food boxes are made up to cover 3 days. And believe it or not, they have decided that 10 kilograms of food, that's right into kilos, 10 kilos of food feeds one person 3 days. I actually think I could probably extend that out further, but there you go. It's all dried goods and it's all tins and it's done by donation. Hopefully over the next few months you'll maybe see boxes out in the foyer where we'll start to collect within the church to build up a stock. Families are referred through when they're in a state of crisis, and the rules that the Trussell Trust laid down is that you actually only do 3 packs for any one crisis, and a pack serves, as I say, 3 days. We may well have to change it and rethink about our crisis levels, because the majority of families that we will deal with will be in crisis all the time. So we need to then think about how we're going to manage that, but that's something for further down the line. The area will probably cover, I'm shaking it up, that's what you're saying a lot. The area will probably cover it'll be a natural demographic because of social work. So it'll be like Gorbals, Govan Hill, Tory Glen and Castlemilk, and that's the kind of area. Hopefully links with the health visitors as well will give us referrals. And really today we're just kind of throwing out the net. I've put in the things that are at the back a note of interest to people. I'm very aware if I said to folk today, would you like to sign up for it, I'd get loads of people signing up. But actually when it came to do the things, people have backed down or they've thought about it again. So really we're just looking at a note of interest from you. If you're interested at all, please fill out the forms and put them in the comments box and we'll get back to you within the next couple of weeks to tell you what's happening. The Trussell Trust charges, but it's well worth the money, the charges, because they give us all the packs that we need, all the information, the vouchers, they'll do training for us, they'll do an audit system for us, so everything's audited for us. Cock and Mouth was an eye-opener, I think, for us when we went down. The system is really effective, but really, really basic, and doesn't work in computers in the main, which is actually quite an eye-opener for most men, I have to say. They mark their cans with felt tip pens if people remember them, you know, but it really was really good to see and it was really exciting to see it. So I would just ask you, think about it. If you feel you can volunteer or help in any way at all, we will need people who can collect donations. We will need people who can stack shelves, we will need people who can fill boxes, we'll need drivers, we'll need people who can meet and greet the people who are coming to pick up the boxes, people who are willing to share their heart with other people. We will always be a Christian-based organisation. The food bank will be Christian-based, but it will be serving the community as a community resource. So thank you.
Building bridges is key. It's key to what we want to do in Govan Hill. It's key to what we want to do in the city of Glasgow. And you know, the food bank is just one exciting idea. It's one exciting thing that we believe God has called for us to do this year.